Hi, Guillermo.
Hello, hello.
Hi, hi, hi. Um, Welcome to come back to the Guillermo and Lee conversation. And so last time you were talking about your story in this the house, um, and then later you mentioned there's a surprising phone call, and you want to continue from there.
Yes. Okay. So it was like I spent this time 5 months in this monastery,
Mm-hmm.
and by doing that, I kind of break some kind of pattern that I have of moving every 3 months that
Mm-hmm.
I had for many years, maybe 10 years, and then when I was around the 5th month in this place, I got the very strong feeling that something was wrong with my house again. And I choose consciously to let it go. I choose to let it go in the sense that instead of quitting everything and running back home to rescue my house, I said maybe I just don't belong there anymore. Like I don't want to be attached to something that interrupts my own processes or something like that. It was more about that, I think, more about the feeling like I felt that the process that I was doing in relation with knowing myself through this Zen meditation and experience in this monastery was much more important than to possess a house. That's how I was thinking at that time. Yeah.
Mm.
Probably now I would go and come back because I'm a bit more rational. But at the time, it was like very clear for me that actually possession of items was something much more superficial than knowing yourself or something. I actually lived many years in a very, very strictly ascetic uh, mm, state, let's say, because I had only one flute. One flute was my only possession, and that was the only real object that I carried with me for years, actually. And all the other things I would find on the streets, or I would get gifts, or I would manage to buy somehow. But the only possession I actually had was this instrument, like a wooden traverse flute, and with which I play music and earn my living.
Mm-hmm.
So this was really extremely ascetic, and taking the decision, making the decision that the house was less important than my own experience was related with many years of preparation on this level. It was not just like I had a normal life and suddenly I decided some new thing. It was really like a preparation, and then I went deeper and deeper into this perception of this philosophical perception of what is really important for a person to experience, and I chose this knowing myself, getting to know myself through the experience of traveling. Basically, that was the
Mm-hmm.
main strategy. And then the call actually was from a very good friend that was living just in front of my house on the other side of a river. And she called me. I don't know how she got this phone because I didn't have cell phones. There was no way, probably through email, maybe that I would check every week or something when we went to buy. When I was in this monastery, we went to buy vegetables in the city, like it was 1 hour ago, 1 hour far.
Mm-hmm.
And we would buy vegetables for everybody for the whole week with the teachers, with this master. And this is something we did for a few months. Uh, and probably there I had the chance to access to a computer and write some emails. I think I had email already or something like that, very, very early. And that's how I maybe end up giving the phone number to this friend.
Mm-hmm.
Or some friend give it to her. I don't know exactly how, but I remember that I was in this place, the monastery, living this uh, life that we have there, and suddenly they come to pick me up and said that somebody's calling the place. And then it was this friend who told me that my house was burned like a few days ago, that they saw the fire from the other side of the river, and they that everything that I built and everything that I had there disappeared in the fire. Basically. That was the news. So this was like maybe 1 week after this decision that I take, or maybe 2 weeks after this decision, where I said I let it go. And then she called me and she confirmed that actually the intuition was correct. There was a problem with my house, but this time it was not that somebody sold it. It was that somebody burned it.
They just set a fire, like, and
it was probably by accident because my house was better built than all the houses around. So it didn't make sense. If somebody would want to get the land, would also try to get the house, because it was a lot of work involved in this house. It was all wooden. It was a wooden cabin, but it has everything you need. But at the level of construction that these people surrounding me, they had, my house was of higher quality. So it was probably an accident. Maybe they got drunk in this empty house. Who knows? So maybe they had a fight. Who knows who was there and who burned it? But yeah. And then when I got this call, I really felt some kind of liberation in a level. I didn't felt the sorrow of losing it, because I kind of already prepared myself. The world that was in front of me was much more interesting than the world to the which I could come back. So I got all these people, sophisticated people from Santiago, that visit this monastery where I was. There was like different friendships that I developed during these months. I had some people that offered me to host me in Santiago, and Santiago was like a mystery for me, like a place of with a very special name, which has nice sonority, and with a completely unknown, and I didn't know what to expect, but I really like everything that I was hearing about. So it was a very epic decision to go and do that. And then I just kind of closed the chapter of my chapter in this hippie village in the south of Argentina with these few events. I kind of closed it in my mind, basically. And actually, I didn't know that I would never come back to live there. I didn't know at that point, I think. Or so, well, it was really strong. I came to visit later because there was another idea that is related with this story of the house, where after 2 years living in Santiago, I was living in different cultural centers, and then we end up actually forming a new cultural center with people that we were living together. First, we were renting a place. There was like a cultural center where I lived for a couple of months, and then they had the idea to rent a whole house nearby, like I don't know, less than 100 meters, and then offer artists and people that were interested in culture to sub-rent the rooms and collaborate with the cultural center.
you're
That
talking
was
about Santiago.
yes, that was a completely self-sufficient cultural center that had already around 10 years of life, and in this moment they had this idea of to get more power, more social power, more people also participating and motivating and creating culture. They wanted to populate this nearby house with people that would participate directly in the project. So it was one of the conditions of living in this house was to do some workshops or participate in some way in the cultural place. But eventually, after around 1 year of living there with people that we didn't know each other, no, we were just renters, people, tenants that rent rooms. But eventually, because we were all connected with the cultural center and with the motivation, we developed some kind of community there, little by little, like. And after 1 year, we start. I mean, after 1 year, we start to have problems with the cultural center in terms of decision making, and they wanted that we do certain things, and we have already somehow our own identity, which is very different to them. we were living like 50 meters away, but the experiences were so different, from this place or the place where we were. The architecture was completely different also. So we developed something more similar to a family, some kind of like it was working like somehow like some sort of like symbolic family in a way. And then it became so bad that at some point we actually decided to make our own cultural place, and eventually we moved. We had like an idea of moving as a group to a better place, and we rent actually after checking everywhere and having millions of discussions about where would go, what could be better than that. We end up living in a hill that is in Santiago de Chile, in the capital. There are two hills. And these hills are like very, very beautiful, but kind of precarious at the same time constructions, houses where people live. So it's like living, like, for example, in Ljubljana, it was like if people would live in Rožnik or in Tivoli, in something like it. It's an ideal place, like it's like a real forest, but there are houses, here and there. And like here they are, but much less formal than in Slovenia, but still. We found a house to rent and we actually moved. We empty at once all the rooms of this place, like making it quite complicated for this cultural place because suddenly they lose all the tenants and the collaboration didn't work. But then we went to this place where we could make a garden and we had the forest and we were still in the center, still in the same city, just in another part of it. And there it was, there were some events, difficult events that I experienced. We separated with this girl that we were together there. And then eventually I left this place. This is another story, very different one. But this was the end of the experience in Santiago. There was a conflict between me and this community because of some problem that happened. I can tell the next time if you want. And before getting to this point, we had an amazing trip when we were at the peak of this family feeling of this community. We decided to travel in Chile and visit the place of everybody. Very nice idea. We were like, there was one girl that was my girlfriend. She was from some city in the south. And there were a couple of gay guys that lived with us. That one were from different cities, even further south. And then there was a girl that was from another place. And it was me who was even from another country. But we were so connected and so positive, and we made it. We started traveling. We hitchhiked or we took some buses. I don't know exactly how. And then we spent around 2 months in this collective trip. And we visit the house of the house of my girlfriend. Then we visit the house of this friend, and then we visit the other house of the other friend. And in the end, we cross in the south in Patagonia, like 2,000 kilometers from Santiago. We crossed the Andes, and we came to visit my village. After I disappeared for 2 years. And then we went to the house of my friends in front of where my house used to be. And then I went to a hill, the hill that I used to pick up wood every day, and I had so many experiences a couple of years ago. And then I look at my house, and there was absolutely nothing. In the location where I lived for 6 years, and I built a house and a fence, and I have my little forest and something, the river, first the house was burnt, but then the river grew enormously and carried away every single sign of the existence of my house. Nothing. There was nothing left.
Wow.
And this was a really, really deep closure for this whole experience with the house, because I had the chance to see how the river actually removed every single thing. The trees were there, but everything that I did, it was completely gone, taken by the river. So if it wouldn't be because of the fire, maybe it would be blown away anyway by this big flood. So this was really strong, and it was really like it was like a process of some sort, you know. Like I don't know what to say. Maybe you have some question to ask me.
Yeah, I was thinking because before, so it is normal, yeah, in Santiago that there'll be a group of artists, cultural people from
Yes.
together. They live together in a big
Yes.
community, and they look for the place and live together. Yeah.
Well, this was more like something that because we were so crazy, we no people are more stable. They might stick there. You know?
Mm,
All the cultural centers in the area where we were, it was in a specific neighborhood of the city too. Also, like an artistic bohemian neighborhood. All the cultural centers were around 10 or 20. They were
mhm,
all about a community of people living in there.
mm,
They were not so institutionalized like they are here in Europe. They were
yeah.
really people who rent a place and they start doing workshops and they start
Yeah.
engaging the community, and this is normal.
This is very new to me. I mean, even in Taiwan, I
Ah,
don't think it is common, you know. Normally, if you want to do that, you need to have a support from the government, and then they have to. You're not allowed just go and form a community like that and live the way you like to live. I think maybe for yeah, I don't, not in my memory. I think even there was, they probably already been destroyed. You know, like no, you cannot do this.
yeah,
And here, not even possible. I think in Canada, everything has to go through regulation, and they are afraid of there will be a liability issue. Yeah.
yeah,
So, yeah, that really limit and I think kill the creativity somehow because you need a freedom. Yeah, you need to have a affordable rent. Like if you want to have a place and you can't even afford the place, like for practice. Yeah, and
yes,
yeah, so that's a very um, I wish there would be more place like that.
yeah.
Allow.
The problem is like there is all this self-determination in South America, but at the same time, because that's my analysis. I don't know if these are the real causes, but
Uh,
because there's so much self-determination, the country is a chaos. Like the country is falling apart and nothing works, and there's a lot of corruption. And that's
mm,
how the spirit of South America is that people are very free in a way. In this way, like yeah, we can take this example. There are many other examples of things
yeah,
that are much more free there.
yeah.
But at the same time, the political class or they cannot really build a prosperous country because all through the system in all the different hierarchies of the system there is corruption and everybody's basically also very free to do whatever they want and to somehow there is not this like surrendering to a structure that is so common here in Europe
Mm,
where there is just a way to have a cultural center and that's the only way and then you need to surrender to that in order to access to the structure and from within this frame you can try your way.
mm,
So because one of the aspects that we have there like all these cultural centers we were borrowing from each other things. Maybe there was one projector in the whole neighborhood and it was the only ones who kind of get it. I don't know how. And they were borrowing projector to all the other places when anyone had an event. Or they were also like we were borrowing our leather. We had like a very tall leather, and I remember bringing it myself to other cultural center 300 meters away
wow.
because they didn't have a big leather. And we were also like this borrowing all kinds of stuff every day almost. It was always all these common goods were running because nobody could afford everything.
Because there's a shortage. Yeah, and yeah,
Yes,
cannot
and
afford
in
it.
a way,
Yeah,
yeah, the shortage is very painful because you would like to have your own
that's
staircase
right.
and your
Yeah.
own leather, but at the end, when you watch it from the outside, this is what generates the community. The fact that you cannot be self-sufficient it forces the society, the small communities to communicate with another, to have relationships and to have respectful, harmonious exchanges. Otherwise, what happens here is that every place is on its own, and there is no need to help anybody. There is no need to ask for help, and therefore it's much less need for knowing who is 200 meters ago, or for trusting to establish any kind of cooperation.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, like in Slovenia, maybe they prefer just do their own thing, and they have their own. They have self-sufficient. Yeah, so they don't have to really cooperate somehow. Yeah.
There's no motivation to cooperate because cooperation is always difficult. It's always negotiations. People want to do things differently.
Yes.
They have different modus operandi, and then you only go through the pain of collaborating with another community if you need them, I think.
That's right.
By default, no, you can do it by ideology also, but if you don't need it, it's too complicated. No, it's too cumbersome to make all these negotiations just for fun. I think you do it for some kind of need.
It's somehow almost like also like a politics, yeah, because the politics is like dealing with a human issue, like bring things together and negotiate, like those politics thing, like it maybe
like a political party,
like just a daily politics, like because when you bring people together, there's a politics, yeah, because someone has to deal with problems, some kind of human issue. Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's about the culture. It's also about like some people might manipulate this thing into some kind of power they can grab.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are strong characters always leading in some way or another. I experienced also, I witnessed many type of association, organization, structures of organization. There was one that was very pyramidal, which was like this guy who was there for 30 years, I don't know, and he was the beginner of all this, and he was older, and he was really authoritarian, but also very special, and then he was actually dictating. He had the last word on everything that happened in this initial cultural center that I started, and then we moved to the second one. The community that we created was completely horizontal, in the sense that we were voting and deciding everything. But me and my girlfriend, we were kind of having some kind of leading role because we were the most motivated, and in a way we were the older, and maybe perhaps a little bit more intellectual in some level compared to the others, or more determined to do culture. And there was another association that was like 300 meters, that was already like a division of this first one in the past, who was like it was a network, and there was a woman leading, a young girl was the strongest character, and the others were all friends, colleagues from university. Actually, they studied dance together, and after, when they finished, they established their own cultural center. And this little girl was actually the strongest force, but they have this idea that they will actually take decisions based on like a voting, and every vote has the same value. So even if she was basically the leading force, at the time of taking decisions, there were like strict meetings in circle where everybody has the same time, the same opportunity to express their own opinion. There was voting, and what was voted was executed. Executed. It was no abuse of power, or it was really clean, democratic, horizontal structure. And then also when you try to interact from institution from one center to the other, which have also a different hierarchical organization, it becomes very creative. Because, for example, this guy of the initial place, he could take decisions immediately. He could make a deal with you immediately. But we should wait that everybody agrees or disagree and have a resolution. And then it's very different ways of making decisions and enacting things.
That's right. Yeah. How long was you in this community center time?
Well, actually, all my experience in Santiago last around 2 years.
2 years.
First, I lived for maybe 6 months or 1 year. Sometimes my memory doesn't connect correctly when I went first time and when I went second time. But I lived there before coming to Europe. I lived there for 2 years, and all this experience in different cultural centers and other things belong to this period. Yeah.
So so later you left, yeah? Like there must be something happen.
Yes.
Something happened, so you decide to leave.
Well, yeah, we were kind of kicked out. This can be the next chapter. It's like we
Yes.
were in community, then we eventually separated with this girl, and we had some kind of guest or host, a guest that because one we were renting one of the rooms that was empty in the first house.
Okay.
Then
I should stop you here. So,
okay,
yes.
so
Because we like, yeah. So there's an incident. So you were kicked out.
we were kicked out. Yes,
Yeah.
the next
That's what
story.
we need to talk next time. Yes. Um, so yeah, it sounds very interesting because I thought there might be something happened there. Yeah.
Yes,
So we're
yes.
going to. I'm interested to know next time. And yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Now
Yeah,
we.
because it was an
Yeah.
ideal situation for me. I was really happy, have a lot of friends. I was really
Yeah.
connected, and I had everything I need. And
Mm,
it was really a dramatic experience that pushed me out of this reality that was so
that's
ideal for me.
yeah. That's very cool. Yeah. It's very interesting. So, yeah, thank you, Guillermo, for today's talk.
Mhm.
And yeah, so let's continue next time. So we are going to um, talk about this. What is the incident? Okay. Um,
Yes. Thank you
and
for the interest, and
thank you.
I'm very happy that we are doing this.
Yeah, me too. And thank you, everybody, for continue watching. And please remember to subscribe. And see you next time.
Bye.